Well, good night, good night. Good night once again, folks. It's a beautiful day in St. Lucia, lovely evening. Lots going on. And you're tuned in to 93.1 FM with the hottest show in radio in St. Lucia, keeping it real. And tonight, folks, is our final show for 2018. Episode number 25, Champagne. Yeah. 25.
Yeah, it was amazing.
We hit the quarter century.
That's right. That was quick, though.
Keeping It Real is 25 episodes
old.
Yeah, that's right. We're in the big leagues now.
That's right, of course.
Well, folks, today is Wednesday, the 12th day of December, 2018, and tomorrow is National Day. It's the 13th of December, and of course, all of you know that song, the 12 Days of Christmas. Mm-hmm. And downtown in Castries, we have the lantern parade, we have the switching on of the lights, we have fire eaters, stilt walkers, lots of kids in town, we have popcorn, we have all the things that kids love. Uncle Ellis thinks he's a kid again.
Yeah.
That's why he's down there doing this assignment.
Yeah.
But we're up here keeping it real with you folks.
That's right.
And I gotta say good night to our listeners who are already tuned in from Atlanta, Georgia. Good night to you out there in Atlanta, Georgia. I know there's some extra people there listening. Yeah, you take your time, take your time. Good night there to our loyal listener out there in Hamilton, Bermuda. Mm-hmm. Good night to you, sir. And tonight, since it's our final show, Champagne, we must remember to shout out all our people.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to shout out from the north. We're starting all the way at the north and we're going down south, east, and west.
Yes, sir.
Cap Estate, our listeners out there in Massad, Grosley. Mm-hmm. Bonte.
That's right.
Bonte in Goodlands, Grosley. That's Goodlands, eh?
Oh, that's
Bonte.
Yeah, I saw that sign one
time. Goodlands, Grosley.
That's right.
Goodlands, Grosley, Bonte. Good night to our listeners in Redway and Marisil. And of course, Babono.
Yeah,
you get better shout out the people in Babono before we get in trouble.
We have to shout out Babono.
Hey, if we don't shout out the people in Babono, we won't get our Christmas gift.
That's right.
And talking about Babono, good night to our listeners over there in London. London, man.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
London, in London.
Enid.
That's right, bloody hell. Bloody hell, man, Champagne. Enid. Yeah. And, we just got a listener, Stamford, Connecticut. That's just not too far out of New York City, maybe about half an hour, 40 minutes out of New York City. If you're in the Bronx, it'll be a little less than that. Mm-hmm. Somewhere around exit number, what's that? Norwalk is exit 13, 14, 15. Okay, folks. Brooklyn is in the house. Just got a message. These people cautioning me, Champagne. Everybody wants to feel special.
Of course.
And everybody is special to us. Good night to our friend out there on George Cooper Road. That's right off Hospital Road.
Yeah.
Good night to our listeners in Soufrière.
We have a special listener in Miku. If you do not give a shout out.
That's your portfolio.
No, that is your same listener in the early stages. So you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
She needs that big shout out.
Good night. Special shout out to our loyal listener.
That's right.
Out there in Lukliks. Miku.
And Miss Joyce, I know you locked in. She's listening in Entrepot, Independent City.
Montfortune, Entrepot, that's right. Mm-hmm. Independent City, Bocage,
and
Ancillary.
That's right. And
Piero. Down in the Viewfort side of things.
We cannot afford to forget
that's right.
our people.
Piero down by the listeners, down by the square.
By the square.
In
that's
Viewfort.
Right. That's right.
Our friends out there in Viewfort, in Lambury, Larry Seuss as well. That's right.
Yeah.
I know we have a new listener out in the Lion. Leon. The Lion.
We have an early call coming in, so that might be from Brother Ellis, though. Hello,
Good night, you're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Yes, good evening. Ryan Ellis reporting from the airport at Square.
Okay, keep it real.
Oh, yes.
Are you eating lots of candy and popcorn?
Well, I am actually in the, what is seems to be the VIP lounge.
Wow.
You invaded.
In the fourth row, we have the Carnival Queen and other dignitaries in front of me, including
That's
the
type
mayor
of
of
cafe,
the
is it?
His Worship Peter Francis, and other very important people, VIPs.
Yeah.
At this time, they are giving out the prizes for the lanterns.
Yeah.
And just before that, we had the address by the mayor, and we had the address by the minister, Fortuna Belrose.
Right.
Okay.
Look
Right? The crowd is, they're sickening from what I can see from here, because I walked through the deepest part of the crowd under the massab tree, and I could hardly make a round. I had to back off and come towards the back part where I found the tent where the VIPs are sitting.
Right.
So at this time, I'm trying to talk. The music, the sound is so loud coming here.
Yeah, but we can hear you though. We can hear you clearly.
You can hear me, okay? Yeah, the prizes are being given out at this time. I'm sitting next to Mr. Dudley Duboulay, one of the trainees. I think he did a lot of work down the coast with the youngsters.
Okay.
Maybe he can give you a little report on what his action was.
Yeah.
Mr. Duboulay. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, I was one of the facilitators at Long Repo.
Okay.
With the kids, and it went very well. The
Good
kids
job.
were very interested.
Good job.
And they at first it was a little difficult for them, but as we went along, it became very easy, and they had a lot of fun. So I hope tonight that one of my kids wins something. That would make me a proud man.
Well, that'll be very good.
All right, then.
All right. Have a good evening.
Yeah, you too, sir.
All right. Thanks a lot. Yeah, for the report. Is Brother Ellis coming back on?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Is the Prime Minister there, Mr. Ellis and his wife?
No, I have not seen them as yet. I don't know if they're closer to the stage, because we are well away from the stage.
Okay.
Almost my back is maybe just at the library, if you can imagine.
Yes. Wow.
The VIP stage is right by the library.
Oh, wow.
And the stage is right
by the
next to
church.
the cathedral.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But from this vantage point, we have a wide scope of the crowd, and I can tell you that there are not too many people in the VIP, because it's nice walking around, and the children are there, and there's quite a bit of security, I must say. That security is well out, not only here but around the city circuit.
All right. Okay.
Right?
So before you leave, let me ask you before you leave, is the light scheduled to be turned on at 9 o'clock? Are you hearing anything in that regard?
Well, I will have to check that out, but I think that what they announced is the lights will be turned on a little earlier than normal.
Yeah.
Because, to wait until 10, 11 o'clock to turn on the lights.
Yeah, that was too
People are
long.
trying to make their way home, especially with the children.
That's right.
But I think the lights will be out a little bit earlier this time.
All right.
So I will double check on that, and I will call you back
with
in
us.
the next.
All right.
I'll call you back probably in the next 15 to 20 minutes.
20 minutes, half hour. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thanks a lot for the report.
Keeping it real. This is Brian Ellis from the Derek Walker Square for 93.1.
That's right.
Right, that's it. That's what I'm talking about. Let's keep it real around here, Yeah, folks, I got some messages whilst Uncle Ellis was on. Your very special listener is listening on radio tonight.
Wow. All right.
So I guess it's no internet tonight. It's on the radio.
Yeah.
Okay, and I got another message from someone that said, haha, I'm all ears.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. And somebody sent me a message, says it's not, thanks for the shout out, but it's Conyers, Georgia. Somebody
Conyers,
there in Georgia. Okay,
right.
So we got somebody from Atlanta too.
That's
No fighting in Georgia. Okay? No fighting in Georgia. Okay, folks, so we're going to jump right into the action. You know, the year has seen its
We got another
stories that we've covered here. Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real. Good night. Let's keep it real. Hello?
Hello?
You're on the air. Let's keep it real. Come on. Let's go. Hello?
You do not want to speak on the air?
Balata.
Oh,
Balata.
Balata. Hey, come on. When you're around here, you gotta be smooth. It's Balata.
Okay? Alright, good night.
All right.
Night.
Sir, all
Thank
right,
you
good.
very much. Thanks for calling.
You see, you didn't shout at Balata.
Well, you know,
So
we
the
were not
gentleman
done.
had-
We were not done yet.
All right.
We were not done yet. You know, you keep. You know, I was going from north to south, but you try pushing me to
And I jumped
Miku.
all the way to Miku. I
You
realized
know,
that. That was
I don't know what's up with
my deepest apologies, sir.
But you know, I'll tell you
Sincere
something.
apology.
I'll tell you something.
Yeah.
I was in the Rodney Bay area on the weekend, Saturday, I think. Saturday? Yeah, Saturday afternoon. And there's this friend I hadn't seen for a long while who came up to me and said, "Hey, how you doing?" and everything. I said, "I'm fine." Say, "I listen to you." I said, "Oh, what?" He said, "Yeah, I listen to you on the radio. I haven't seen this person in
Yeah.
15 years or
Probably
something."
remember the voice. You recognize the voice, maybe.
Well, you know, sometimes people are tuning around or they get
Of course.
get the info from their friends. So you have to listen to the show. A number of people have said to me that someone put them onto the show and said
yeah.
you have to listen to the
Oh, yeah,
show.
of course. I get
But I
that all
mustn't
the time.
forget, we got some new listeners. You
Yeah.
know, we have some really loyal listeners. Latok Road.
Yeah.
Good night to you, Latok. I know you're listening. Good night.
Now,
Old Mon Road.
Yeah.
Good night to you.
I wanted to ask you, because I know we have some faithful listeners and they can't wait to get the program. The radio's tuned in or their mobile phones. And you made mention of this is our final show for the year.
For the year.
And, is that for real or you?
Yeah,
All
episode
right.
25, the Christmas season is on from tomorrow.
That is right.
12 days of Christmas. 13 and 12 is what?
Yeah,
25. That's
people,
right.
Some people may not be pleased with that because they always want to have a
Well,
show.
well, you know, as a matter of fact, somebody just sent me a message, well, a few minutes ago, when we came on, just about 9 minutes ago. So sad it's the last one. What will we do?
Exactly.
Tuesday nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, January is not too far away.
Well, it's not too far. It should be about the second week of January,
That's right.
about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
caller, if you're feeling a little nostalgic,
Yeah.
you can go to our Facebook page. Just search on Facebook for Keeping It Real, and we have all the archived shows on there, and
That's right.
you could binge listen,
Of course.
not binge watch,
Binge listen.
binge listen.
Okay. Whatever
You
that
could-
is.
you could binge listen to all our previous shows, and the one from last week is on there, and it's been hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Been told quite a bit about that. But anyway, folks, you all know all the action that's been going on about the place and session of Parliament. And just got a message. Don't forget Bishop's Gap.
Bishop's Gap.
Bishop's Gap. Bonsoir.
That's right.
Sakafet la. Esu la.
That's who la. Martinique didn't come on.
Let me have a look here. At the.
And Mexico. You have to give a shout out.
Mexico no está aquí ya. Champagne, you alright, man? You drinking some water, you might drown yourself, you know. Yeah, no, Martinique is not on
Martinique
here
is not on
yet.
yet. All right.
But we have quite a few people from the US.
Yeah.
Miami, Florida. We have some people from Castries.
Yeah.
Must be listening on. Must be Uncle Ellis, maybe.
No, Uncle Ellis, I don't think he's listening.
Yeah, he
Not
can't
all that
hear
noise.
anything at all.
But you should still give a shout out to our people over there in Mexico, man. Even though maybe.
Ahora, buenas noches a nuestros amigos allá. En México, esta noche está el episodio 25.
That's right.
25. El último para este año. Hasta el año nuevo, empezamos en la segunda semana con Keeping It Real. Con Norberto William y Champagne.
So I thought somewhere in there you said that's the last episode for
That's
2020.
right, that's right, right.
See that? I'm picking stuff up.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, solution.
Somebody said Champagne is so amazed with you. Champagne's my number one fan.
That's right. All right.
Yes, folks. So, maybe we might do a little recap, have some people call in tonight, no holds barred tonight.
Right.
But I want to bring your attention to I mean, a significant happening in the House yesterday.
I listen all the time, yesterday and today.
Yeah, we might, maybe one, two people might want to talk about that. But folks, some people like their politics, some people want to get into the holiday spirit, but that's all in the scheme of things, with keeping it real. Hey, if you have a nice recipe, you can put it on the show tonight.
Of course.
But, on keeping it real tonight, I just, made a little note about, the projects that the government is about to embark upon with, in the coming year, in the new year, pretty soon, in fact, in January.
Yeah.
And one of these projects, folks, is being financed by our great friends over there in the East, Southeast Asia, actually, the Taiwanese. And I must say that Taiwan has become a household name in St. Lucia. They have assisted us in more ways than most people can remember, in agriculture, in infrastructure, in everything you can imagine. They've assisted us for quite a number of years. Health, that's right. In horticulture, a number of people have gotten into lilies, is that it? Lilies? Orchids, that's right. And we've had visits from a number of senior,
not forgetting our students with scholarships. That's right.
And was it yesterday? Our police band is off to Taiwan to participate in some music festival that's over there. So that's absolutely great. I don't know if all of them are going to come back. They might be so enamored, they might settle in a part of Taiwan and call it St. Lucia.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's a great thing. That's great exposure for St. Lucia. That's great exposure for our chaps in the police band. But anyway, folks, let's get down into the action tonight. Just so that any new listeners or those of you who may have forgotten, the number to call is 456-0931. If you want to call with a question, comment, statement, or maybe sing on the line for a second, 456-0931. But we're going to keep it real. If you can't sing, you're going to get cut off. But anyway, folks, let's get serious for a little bit. As serious as we can get anyway. Folks, we've heard of this loan guarantee that the government is going to the House for SLASPA. It's a loan from the Taiwanese of $150 million US. And that is going to go primarily into the renovation, the reconstruction, if you will, the refurbishment, construction of a new terminal building and other works at the airport. There's going to be a new tower, and other facilities there. And there's a whole big brouhaha in the House with the opposition headed by Philip J. Pierre. That's right, folks. Philip J. Pierre. Some people say they like to hear me say the Pierre on the end there. We have to have our own little style around here. If we're keeping it real, we have to keep our style real too. So a whole big brouhaha, folks. And of course, as usual and as expected, all members of Her Majesty's loyal opposition opposed. As expected anyway. I mean, nobody really expected anything else. And the problem with the St. Lucia Labour Party is the manner in which this current administration, headed by Prime Minister Allen Chastanet, the manner in which they have gone about funding or paying for the airport. But folks, you see, many people may argue that school really doesn't help you too much in life, Most of what they learn in school, they never seem to realize how it applies in their life. You do physics, you do chemistry, you do mathematics and all of that. They say it doesn't apply because you don't do a job. But it doesn't matter whether you're doing a job. It helps you and you don't even realize it. Because if you want to lose some weight, that's maths. If you're driving from Castries to Vieux Fort and you have 1 bar left on your gas tank, that's maths. If it costs you $100 to fill up your gas tank and you look at your gas gauge and it shows half full, you know it's going to cost you $50 to fill up. So if you go to the gas station and you say, fill me up, you're expecting your bill to be about $50 because you're at half tank. And the guy tells you your bill is $110. Do you think that paying attention in maths class at school helped you figure that out? Of course it did. And folks, I would like you tonight to get your pen and paper and maybe your cell phone, or if you're at your computer, because you know here on Keeping It Real, we like to give you the evidence, or we like to steer you in the right direction, or in the direction where you can verify the information that we give to you. Come to your own conclusion, you know. Validate our information for yourselves. That way you can say, Norwood and Champagne give me the right info. And folks, what I would like you to do, first of all, is look up the meaning of the word moratorium. I'd like you to look up that word. M-O-R-A-T-O-R-I-U-M. Mora, M-O-R-A, torium, T-O-R-I-U-M. Because I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it just a minute or two in my analysis of the paralysis, as I like to say, and Champagne likes to hear that.
Yes, sir.
Is your mic on, Champagne?
My mic is off for the moment.
It's off. Yeah. So, you know, nobody's hearing your responses over there, you know. Keep it real, Champagne. You know, I like to give you the analysis of the paralysis, as I say around here, because it's very important to get down to the real substance of what we're discussing around here. So I would suppose most people have come up with moratorium. So anyway, here goes, folks. You know, I need to pull up a calculator. Pull up your calculator, folks, if you have one, you know, a desktop calculator, or if you have one on your phone, pull it up as well, because I want you to engage in a little exercise of mathematics tonight on keeping it real. You know, I don't care whether you SLP, I don't care whether you UWP, I don't care whether you whatever P you want to be. If you want to go to the bathroom, go quickly and come back. Because we're going to be going through, I'm going to be walking you through step by step, very slowly, so we could calculate a few things and see whether the outcome is sensible to you. So first of all, folks, we remember there's been talk for a number of years about Hewanorra International Airport needing to be reconstructed or renovated, or a new terminal or expansion. And this conversation has been heard during this current administration. It was heard during the previous SLP administration, and before that by the previous UWP administration between 2006 and 11, SLP 2011 to 2016, and now with this current UWP administration. And folks, the departure tax for passengers at our airports, at Hewanorra International Airport, is $25. Every single person who has a ticket pays $25. You can get whatever discount, whatever it is you want on the ticket. Your departure tax is $25. Right? Now, the previous UWP administration had initiated an additional tax. And the purpose for this tax, departure tax, was for the airport redevelopment. Additional $35. Right? Additional $35. And they had already been collecting this $35 when they were voted out of office and the SLP got into office. The SLP discontinued the tax after some period of time. I think they had already been collecting it for a year or two, but that's not important. It's neither here nor there. The SLP's plan, eventually, after having discontinued the tax, because they said that they could not be levying a tax. That was their argument. They could not be levying a development tax on passengers when no works had started yet at the airport. I mean, let me keep it real tonight. That's the dumbest load of crap I ever heard. Because if you're anticipating works to be done, you start collecting. And the hypocrisy of it all, you see, people don't really analyze what's happening. People don't like to give themselves work. People like to lay back and say, we should go to the beach, party, chill out. Some people. Too many people.
Yeah.
They're not paying attention to what's going on. But I'm sure you remember. Oh, I just got an email, folks. Balka in the house from day one, waiting on my cake. Champagne, I don't know. What's the story about cake?
Well, Balka, I have some information for you. You have to tune in on Saturday morning with the program, What's Going On with Brother Ellis. He has a quiz for you. If you turn out to be coming up with the right answer, you win yourself a cake. And what we do at Kyrie FM, we deliver. Wherever you are in St. Lucia, you don't.
Wow.
You do not ever
serious?
have. Yeah, I'm serious.
Is that by drone? You're getting like Amazon.
By whatever. You do not have to come to the studio.
It's easy.
Yes.
We high tech around here.
Exactly.
But anyway, folks, those of you who want to email address is info@keepingitreal.lc. info@keepingitreal.lc. LC for St. Lucia. LC, the domain. LC. info@keepingitreal.lc. So anyway, folks.
But let me remind you, while you're on the subject, that the withdrawal or the taking off of that departure tax was a campaign promise. Okay?
By whom?
By Dr. Anthony. Said they were
that
going to
remove
take that off because, alright. I just wanted to slide that in there.
Alright. So that was, folks, $35 that the UWP administration had put on there. Right? They discontinued that after it had been in effect for about a year or something. Now, folks, around that time, let's get ready for the maths now, Champagne.
I have my pencil.
You have your pencil.
Yeah.
Folks, around that time, let's look at how much the government would have had in that sinking fund for the airport development. Now, remember, the airport at that time was estimated to have been something about, if I remember correctly, 150 million EC dollars or something of the sort. The redevelopment of the airport. Now, folks, if you pull up your calculador, right? Calculator. About that time, St. Lucia's tourist or departures were about 350,000. Now, remember, it's US dollars on the departure tax. 350,000 multiplied by 35 US dollars. Right? multiplied by, okay, 350,000 by 35.
It's 12 million.
That's 12.25 million. That's
right.
12 and a quarter million a year.
That's right.
According to what we understand, there had already been about 30 million or something. But hold on. That's just 1 year. That's US dollars. If we multiply that
2.67.
by 2.67, 32 million in the first year.
That's right.
Right?
That's what it
Now, listen now. The SLP came into office. The whole term that they were there, nothing materialized on the airport.
No.
However, the government had been collecting this money. There was no problem. In fact, on average, according to the information the Prime Minister gave yesterday, folks, on average, the departure tax in the region was about $100 US per ticket.
That's in the other countries.
In
the
Antigua,
other islands, yeah.
Jamaica, other islands.
Right.
Right? Average, $100 US. However, St. Lucia was at 35 and 25.60. Somewhere around there.
Right.
Right? We're keeping it simple. There's other additional fees, but I'm keeping it simple. Right? Just setting up the principle of understanding.
And I noticed you went to the lowest cost at 35.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
We'll get in there. Right? Don't worry. Right? So, folks, that came out to what? 32 million?
32 million,
32 million.
7,000.
Okay. Now, that was for 1 year. The SLP was in for, they had 1 year UWP and 4.5 years or whatever under there.
Yeah.
Right? So, if we look at 32 million, let's just make numbers simple. Multiply that by 5. When the SLP left office, we should have had $163 million in that sinking fund.
Yes, sir.
To finance the airport.
163 million.
However, they discontinued the tax. And the 32 million that had already been collected vanished.
Yeah.
Because it's nowhere to be found. It vanished into other things, which is not what it was collected for. Right? Now, although we spoke about it in a previous episode of Keeping It Real, few shows ago, currently, the departures at Hewanorra on a yearly basis are about 400,000. Okay? We all know the airport is at its peak in operating and handling passengers.
And every single member of the opposition admitted to that. They know.
Everybody has said so.
Right.
We need to redo the airport.
Right.
Right? So that is not an area of contention for the SLP or the UWP.
That's right.
Okay? So we have that out of the way. The SLP wanted to enter into an agreement with a foreign entity. But the SLP was terrified, clearly, of taking on any debt. Because we don't want to raise the GDP of the country. We don't want to take on any debt we can't afford. As a matter of fact, based on what Dr. Kenny Anthony said, and I played last week, St. Lucia's credit rating was in the tubes.
You said that.
Because they were trying to get loans to issue bonds, and they couldn't get the monies they want. They wanted 260 something million. All they got was what, 20 something or 40 something million.
And he said they will have to get their house in order.
Had to get their financial house in order. That's very good champagne.
Yeah, I remember.
You remember that, of course.
I have it here.
In fact, you see, I like to give the foundation, because too many people do not connect the dots, the datos. Well, that's just
That's Spanish or that's your
I don't
own?
know what, that's my own word. I
okay.
just made that up right now.
All right.
Just like Gwenery.
Yeah.
Right? Let me get it here for you. I will get it for you. I will get it for
All
you,
right.
Champagne.
Okay.
But-
Well, we have it. He admitted that he was asked to get his house in order, his financial house in order.
That's right.
So he could not have gotten any loans.
So why now do you think they didn't want to take a loan? Because they would not get the funding and the financing. That's clear, apparently. He said it. And I'm gonna get it for you folks. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. I'm gonna get it for you. Right? Here it is right here. I'm gonna get it for you. Dr. Kenny Anthony, in his own words, because I want the foundation to be accurate and for you to hear it in his own words. It's a 2.5 minute clip. Listen to this, folks. Okay, looks like we have a little situation here, but I'm going to get that in order, folks. So don't worry. Don't you worry at all, because Dr. Kenny Anthony is going to be right here for you. Right here. Let's go again.
But something happened. Something happened that made the situation different. And it is the first time St. Lucia has experienced this. This time around, we could not borrow to finance the deficit. That is the crux of your problem. St. Lucia could have...
Now, if he could not borrow to finance the deficit, he couldn't borrow for anything else.
No.
Because whether it's for the deficit, whether it is for roadworks, whether it is for anything else,
They're not lending you.
if your credit rating is no
bad,
good,
yeah.
if you're in financial troubles and the banks and the bond market is not interested in you, then you can't borrow for anything. Let's go on.
Go on along its merry way for the next couple of years very easily.
Let's hear that.
Crux of your problem. Different. And it is the first time St. Lucia has experienced this.
Hold on. First time St. Lucia has experienced this.
Yeah.
Under whose leadership?
Yeah, he's admitting to that.
Under whose leadership? Let's hear that.
Obviously.
This time around, we could not borrow to finance the deficit.
That is
the
very
crux of your
important.
problem.
That is the crux of my
St. Lucia
statement.
could have gone along its merry way for the next couple of years very easily if it could borrow money to pay for the deficit. It would have put us in more trouble down the road.
On the road, yes, later on.
And
So you understand why they didn't want to take a loan. They could not afford to take a loan. So therefore, they had to get a third party. Let's go on.
and suddenly we would have collapsed. But we would have bought time, but we can't now because, generally speaking, institutions in the region are unwilling to lend governments. And let me just give you an example of what I'm getting at. A lot of people have heard of something called bonds. And we normally finance the deficit or obtain money for development purposes by issuing bonds. These are really paper instruments that say to those who take those bonds, look, at the end, if you lend us $10 million, at the end of 10 years, we're going to give you the 10 million back plus an annual interest rate of, let us say, 10% or 5%. So if you lend us 100 million, then you get 10 million in profits, or whatever the case might be. Are you with me?
Yes.
Now, last year, and this is where the crux of the problem is,
Hear it, folks.
we wanted to issue bonds of $266.5 million.
Listen to that.
But we actually were able to raise only $45.5 million.
45.5.
That's a significant difference.
In other words, we were not able to raise $221 million.
Wow.
Likewise, we wanted to raise short-term loans of $38.9 million, but we were only able to raise $29.3 million. Again, a shortfall of $9.6 million. So what has happened here is that we cannot turn to borrowing to fix up our deficit because banks, individuals, and institutions who used to lend before are no longer lending governments. They're insisting that they will lend you if you get your financial house in order. And in our case, getting our financial house in order means that we have to bring down that fiscal deficit.
So, folks, for all intents and purposes, St. Lucia's financial house under Dr. Kenny Anthony was not in order. You hear that, folks? St. Lucia's financial house in the words of Dr. Kenny Anthony, whilst he was in office, was not in order. As a result, banks and lending institutions and the bond market were not willing to invest, to lend, or to purchase from St. Lucia. Therefore, you can understand now more than anything else why Dr. Kenny Anthony and the SLP administration at the time did not want to finance the development or the building, the redevelopment of Hewanorra International Airport, because they could not.
Could not. That's where I was coming. They could not.
So the only way to redevelop Hewanorra International Airport would be to have an entity take over the airport, redevelop the airport, and give it to them to operate for a certain period of time to recoup their monies. Now, folks, although it's not spelled out, the argument is, well, they would have given the government some money every month, or a percentage, whether it was $5 or whatever. That too, folks, just be patient with me, is really irrelevant. So now, in order to satisfy that entity who was going to come in and take over the airport, the SLP now would have instituted a $55 per passenger departure tax. Right? $55 per passenger, US dollars. Also, hold on. Also, the period of time for which that foreign entity would have had control of Hewanorra International Airport would have been for 30 years.
30 years.
Tot, Lani, 30 años. And in German or whatever, boom, shakalaka, boom, I don't know how you say that.
Yeah.
Right?
But these are the same people that took off the $35.
Yes, they took it off. Right?
And a couple years later, they put another $20 on it.
Make it 55.
Right, I just wanted to slide that in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, folks, let's get down to that old calculator again. Okay? Let's get down to the calculator. And this now, Champagne, does not include concession fees for duty free, for shops in the airport, for landing fees and all of that.
Right.
It doesn't even consider those monies that that company would be taking in. We're just keeping it clean and simple.
Basic, yeah.
Right? So, folks, let's go again. In fact, let's just hold on there. Right? So for the 5 years, $163 million. Remember that number? $163.5 million. That was what, with the $35 that the SLP would have collected in the...
During the 4 years. 5 years, yeah.
Okay, 5 years. Okay, $163.5 million. So, we have now $55. So let's go, folks. Clear that calculator up. $55. And currently, the passengers out of Hewanorra is 400,000 a year.
Right.
Multiply that by 400,000. Right? No. It's not working right there. 55 multiplied by 400,000. Right? Multiplied by 30. Because it's 30 years, right? Now that's not, we already know that more airlines are putting in flights, that more hotels are coming to St. Lucia, that St. Lucia's tourism numbers have been going up steadily. So during those 30 years, we sensibly or reasonably can expect that the numbers are going to be more than 400,000 a year. But we're going to keep it at that base level.
Yeah.
Okay?
That is 660.
660 million US dollars.
Right.
Multiply that by 2.67 and we get $1.762 billion. $1,762,200,000.
And
Hold on. That's the $55.
Yeah, that's just the $55.
Right?
That is
Hold on,
not
for an
even-
airport
Yeah,
that had been estimated to cost about $150-200 million.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, right? If you minus two, let's just say the interest payments would have been double. So 400 million.
right.
We would have been giving this company over 3 years, or 30 years, 1.3 billion of our dollars.
So hold on. That is outside. That is just the departure tax. You have not included landing fees.
That's
you
right.
have not
Nothing
included
else.
rentals on the
Nothing-
shops.
nothing else,
You
nothing
have not
else.
included
Nothing else.
anything
Not
else.
anything else. Nothing
So
raising
we're
revenue.
talking almost $2 billion.
Yeah, hold on. Let's,
I'm doing the math.
yeah. Now hold on.
yeah.
Folks, I think this is simple math for everybody
Of
so
course.
far, right?
Of course.
Okay. Or we would not be incurring any debt.
Yeah.
Whose money would that have been anyway?
Yeah, exactly.
And even if they gave St. Lucia
$400 million.
$5
Let's say they give
or
10,
10, whatever,
Yeah.
they ain't giving St. Lucia all of this money,
No, but they're running it.
right?
That's a private company.
So, although you're saying that we have no loan, our monies, our taxes are going to this company. So what's the benefit to St. Lucia?
Yeah.
What's the benefit? The only benefit is outside of the airport. So that's at today's figures, eh? Next year the numbers are expected to rise, and in 30 years you don't think our tourist
Of
arrival is going
course,
to
about
remain the same?
A million passengers maybe. Depends on how,
Okay. Okay. So this here basically is statistical worst case scenario. Basic scenario. Now, let's look at the plan that this current UWP administration wants to implement, that the SLP is balling to high murder.
Yeah.
Oh, you're taking a loan. Well, SLASPA is the one taking the loan. The government is guaranteeing the loan. But
a lot of people will argue that SLASPA is government.
Yeah. That's neither here nor there. Say, membagaila.
Right.
Right? The thing also is that the monies which the SLP is making a noise about, and they talk about no transparency. People don't know anything about what's going on. No transparency. And they keep pounding and pounding that. Kote transparency, ya. Zotteni, Kenny Teni, Ek Rochamel. He guaranteed a loan for Rochamel after the fact. After a fact. After the
that
fact.
was about 30 million, right?
Well, it all came to something
About
like about
90.
60 something,
It was,
80 something
yeah,
million or
yeah,
whatever.
and all, yeah.
A lot of millions.
A lot of millions.
Right? So, who was transparent? How can you complain about transparency when the government is actually coming to you and say, we're going to the Taiwanese for $150 million, 100 million going to the airport, 50 million going to schools, roads, rehab, blah, 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 or hospitals. Right?
So based on the calculations we just did, and we came up with that 1.7 billion, 150 million US would amount to about over 400 million.
For about 400
million EC.
million.
You have a balance there of 1.3 million.
Hold on. We come into that just now.
Okay.
We come into
Sounds
just
like I'm
now.
taking over the show because.
No, you're not taking over.
All right, go ahead, buddy.
Right. Now, folks, if we look at the UWP's plan, this current administration's plan, there was let's not worry about the initial 25. That still stays there, whichever administration is there. So we're not going to even worry about that. That zeroes out. The UWP's plan is to put in $35 departure tax. Right? We have a loan agreement with the Taiwanese of 20 years. Okay? 20 years. But folks, here's that little part that I asked you to participate in earlier. And those of you, if you did, you should have the information. The meaning of the word moratorium.
Yeah, moratorium. I looked it up.
And with the Taiwanese deal, there's a moratorium on payback of 5 years. So all the government does, or all that is done to service the loan from SLASPA, is interest payments in the first 5 years. $6 million or something for the year. Right? Now, let's look at what's going to happen, because there's going to be a sinking fund.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go back to the calculators again, folks.
Yeah.
Let's go back. We have, let's do it again. So now we're looking at $35
Mm-hmm.
multiplied by 400,000, and remember that's today's figures, multiplied by 20. Okay? Because it's 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What do we get?
280.
280 million
Yeah.
US
That's
dollars.
Yeah.
Multiply that by 2.67. That we would have collected $747 million. But folks,
Yeah.
but folks,
Yeah, call us on the line.
Uncle Ellis is trying to come in.
Call us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on. He's gonna call.
Call me on the line. Okay, call us.
Uncle Ellis is gonna
Yeah.
call us with an update
Yeah, he's giving us an update
on the
there.
square. I hope he didn't eat all the kids'
Yeah, he's trying to. You turn that up.
cornflakes,
Okay.
popcorn.
Right. Let's go. You call.
So, folks, anyway, 747.
Okay, there he is.
There we go. Good night, you're on the air. Good night, you're on the air.
Yes, good night. Calling from the Walker Square.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Well, I tried to reach y'all to let y'all know to give you the countdown for the lights,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but nobody was answering the phone.
We were doing some math.
Oh, I see.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
I was hoping that y'all would switch off the lights in the studio and switch them on the
Oh, shucks.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, I would like to inform St. Lucia that lights have been turned on.
Wow.
They were switched on. They look pretty good.
Wow.
Quite a variety of different lights. I can't really compare them with last year.
Right.
Because I can't remember how the lights were last year, but they're quite nice.
Yeah.
And they are quite a nice display. So you missed the countdown, but the lights are on in the square, and everything is going according to plan.
Wow. They lived
There's
up to
the
the
same that was
time.
picked up.
Mm-hmm.
We had some beautiful singing, and we had an address by the President of the Senate, Janine
Girodi.
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 Yeah.
Girodi, yeah. All right.
So what are the crowds like?
Oh, well, it's expanding. I now see the crowd coming closer and closer to the VIP stage. So that tells me that
Yeah, there are more
it's
people.
expanding. More
Yeah.
people are filling in the interior of the square.
All right.
Okay?
All right. Beautiful.
So,
Beautiful.
guys, you guys are going up until 10, right?
Yeah, but we're going to meet you down there at the William Peter Boulevard.
I thought for a moment y'all had to boycott the show because when I was calling, I wasn't hearing anything.
No, we're dedicated over here.
Boy, we're doing some, listen, we're doing some serious math over here.
Yeah, you keep it real.
Yeah, that's right. All right, sir.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Okay, good. Take care.
All right, good.
From Derek Walker's Carolina Lewis.
All right.
Well, folks, you hear it there. If you're a kid, a big kid, and you still want some of the action down there, you can head down to
Yeah.
Derek Walcott Square, and there's more action than ever down there.
But that's great. They kept the time frame. They said they were going to turn it on at 9 o'clock, and it's
Well,
already
that's
turned
good.
on.
It's
That's
great. Great. Okay, folks, so let's get back to this.
So we're up on 747 million.
Now.
That's where we were.
Now, that's in 20 years.
Right.
But we would have been collecting those taxes for 5 years before they kick in. The repayment, remember that? Right? So even if there was some hurricane or some issue in the world that affected our tourism numbers somewhere down the road,
Yeah. God
we
forbid.
have a 5-year moratorium and we have time to recover and put money in the sinking fund, which would just be there sitting, earning interest, waiting
For the recovery.
for the payment, the repayment of that loan.
Yeah.
So let's look at, that loan is 400 million EC dollars.
Yeah.
Right? Even if we only collected 35 at 400 passengers, let's just average it out at 500 passengers.
500,000.
Okay? The numbers are going up.
Yeah, 500,000.
Right? Let's look at what's happening. So let's do, folks, those of you who are quick out there, let's do it.
So what we doing
Okay.
now? 500,000.
We doing 35, right, by 500,000
Right.
by, how many years we gonna do? 20.
20.
That equals 350 million US dollars.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Multiply that by 2.67, 934 million dollars in 20 years. Right? 20 years. So we owe 400 million.
So we now have to minus.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let's hold on.
Okay.
The airport is 400 million. Even if we double it, interest payments and everything to double, 800 million.
Right.
In 20 years, we've paid off that loan.
Yeah.
However, that's at the old rate that the UWP had suggested before. So let's say we go with 55.
Right.
Right?
Right. So we doing
Yeah,
55. I'm there. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So let's say we go now
So we're doing
with the
500
55. Now
500.
55 and 25. That's what?
55,
70?
75, yeah.
70.
Yeah.
Right? SLASPA is still getting the operating expenses from the 25, which it has always been.
Always been, yeah.
Whether it was SLP or UWP, departure tax has always been 25 US dollars.
That's right.
So these monies that we're talking about are additional for the airport redevelopment.
Right.
So if the government goes with the $55 now, so we do, folks, let's multiply 55 multiplied by 500,000 because we averaging 500,000 now, right?
Yeah. By
Multiplied by 20.
By
Multiplied by 2.67 to get EC. $1.4 billion
That's right.
in 20 years.
20 years. That's the same amount with the
Right?
the SLP's 30.
Yep.
Okay.
Right? 1.4 billion in 20 years. So it will take us less than
Almost.
the 20 years, right? To pay back. As a matter, it will take us about 12 years of the 15 to pay back,
Of 20.
right? 12 years. So 10, let's multiply 10 years now, right? 10 years, 55 by 500,000 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 2.67. We would have made another $1.4 billion dollars. And all of that money, folks, would have been coming to us
Yeah.
under this agreement with the Taiwanese. Now, you need to do any much maths?
No.
In 30 years, it was costing us, it would have cost us
1.7.
$1.7 billion going to the foreign developer. Under this situation here, all we would have paid back in 20 years or less is $800 million.
Yeah.
So even if we're using just the SLP figures, we would have saved or kept for St. Lucia
About 900.
900 million
Yeah.
EC dollars.
That's right.
And with the UWP plan now, in those 30 years, we would have made even more. $1.4 billion additional.
That's right.
Monsieur say, Munla,
I mean,
that's
come on.
basic maths.
That's basic. That's
But
basic.
you see, the SLP had to justify their position because they could not get a loan.
That's
So they had to make it seem like a nice thing. That the best thing for St. Lucia was to let a foreign entity redevelop the airport and control the monies that were coming out of the taxes.
a bailout. It's a bailout. That was a bailout for them. Because they go
So
down
in
there.
essence, they would say, well, we have this nice airport and everything, but we're not getting the
Not
money
getting
from it.
anything from it. Anything.
Hardly anything. Whatever we were getting is not what we could get, or not what we would be getting under this current UWP agreement. Folks, that's simple. Number to call is 4560931 if you want to comment.
Yeah.
Make a statement. Ask a question. Let's go, folks. 4560931 if you want to email. Email address on our final show for 2018, Keeping It Real, is info@keepingitreal.lc. Now tell me if this doesn't make sense.
It's simple math.
It is. It is. For those who joined us late, or those who don't want to believe, I'm going to play that Kenny Anthony statement again. And this explains the reason why, in my mind,
Yeah.
the SLP did not want to go the route of a loan for the redevelopment of Hewanorra International
Or could
Airport.
not go.
The reason for that is because they could not
Yeah.
fund it. They could not get, they could not raise the monies. And the reason for that is stated very clearly by Dr. Kelly Anthony. You see, a lot of people don't connect the dots. But I'm connecting and helping you connect them tonight. Here's what Dr. Kenny Anthony said during his last administration. I think that's 2014, 2015, about money.
Made the situation different. But something happened. Something happened that made the situation different. And it is the first time St. Lucia has experienced this.
First time.
This time around, we could not borrow to finance the deficit. That is the crux of your problem. St. Lucia could have gone along its merry way for the next couple of years very easily if it could borrow money to pay for the deficit.
I want to say something here.
Say something,
the statement that was made, this is the first time that St. Lucia had to be going through this.
But remember,
First time.
But remember, during that last term of the SLP, there were 3 years, successive years of negative growth.
That's true.
So now we understand, it's logical to conclude, as far as I'm concerned, that the Dr. Kenny Anthony administration back then were trying to justify them not taking a loan and going the airport route of an outside developer because they could not get the money to get the loan.
Couldn't get it.
They were not qualifying. Banking and financial institutions were not interested.
So basically, no collateral. Right?
Well,
we could use that.
their credit rating was bad.
Exactly.
They had too much debt.
Yeah.
And what did he say? They had to get their financial house in order.
That's right.
So because Dr. St. Lucia's financial house under Dr. Kenny Anthony was not in order, the only option that he had to develop the airport, knowing full well that the airport had already outlived its usefulness, that the only way St. Lucia could develop further is to increase the capacity of the airport, to make it more attractive, to make it able to handle more aircraft, translating into more passengers. The only way we could develop further is for that airport to be redeveloped. That's it. If Hewanorra International Airport does not go through that change, St. Lucia is not developing further.
It's true.
The hotels will not come.
The capacity.
The capacity of the airport, everybody knows already. So now, folks, you understand.
Yeah.
Now you
The
understand.
reason behind them giving it up to a private company.
So they would forego, they'll say, you know what, to hell with it. We'll lose all of that money, but we'll make some money in hotels and everything. Can you
And
imagine
St.
that?
Lucia, because these guys would come in and redevelop the airport, and St. Lucians would say, oh, we have a new airport.
Yeah. But you know what? Listen. But you see, Champagne and folks, now with all of this money, what does it allow us to do? You see, they're talking about, it's increasing St. Lucia's debt ratio and GDP to debt and all of that. Yeah, it may slightly. But according to what the Prime Minister says, there's a revenue stream, and the revenue stream is the departure tax. And that revenue stream is not going anywhere. If anything, that revenue stream is going to increase. So this is 2018 figures that we're calculating here, as it stands in 2018. So what about 5 years from now, with all the hotel capacity coming in? And then, hold on, Champagne. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Are you with me?
I'm there.
Cruise ship coming in. You have additional passengers coming in now, 5,000, 6,000 for a
Cruise
trip
ship.
originating and ending home porting in St. Lucia. So right away there, the redevelopment of the airport is blowing up St. Lucia, and then clearly it'll blow up the south.
Mm-hmm.
But then, folks, in the info I sent out this afternoon, the promo, the preview, the teaser for the show, what was it titled? Huh? What was it titled? Liftoff. And on there, folks, you see the whole development I was talking about. The airport is going to be the catalyst for the change in the south and the change in St. Lucia. The cruise ship port is going to depend heavily on the airport. What's going to fund that? St. Jude Hospital. The monies have been gotten. Works have started on there, clearing up of the grounds, the properties. Foundation's going to start in January. Hewanorra International Airport is going to be going. And based on what I've heard and seen, it's going to be the premier airport in the region.
You think?
And hold on. And some of those taxes are going to fund what? The Northeast Highway.
Northeast Highway.
Now, if we had gone with the SLP's version of this plan, we would have had nothing. All we would have had is an airport. We'd have had no development coming off that because the money would be going to the foreign entity.
And we often wonder why countries go in a down spiral and the people become poorer and poorer. Initiatives like this, when politicians or government just do not have the guts to take a chance on something to develop their country, you just going to give away.
But you see, I think you giving Kenny Anthony too much credit there by that. Because clearly, St. Lucia's financial situation was because of his and their, the SLP, poor management abilities.
Yeah.
They were unable, although they had already gotten, $30 million plus in the sinking fund for the airport. The taxes had already started being collected.
Yeah.
They had all the opportunity to do everything. Airport never developed. Nothing happened. The airport was bursting at the seams when they left office.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They did not finish St. Jude in their full term of office. Right? They did not open OKEU. They did not satisfactorily fix the schools. They did not, and if they did very little, road maintenance. Everybody knows the state of the roads. That's a dead horse right there.
I don't know.
They did not deliver on these major promises. They did not deliver on jobs. Good night, you're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir.
I think what you are exposing there is the fundamental chasm between a party which understands finance.
Hello?
Go ahead, caller. Hello? Looks like we lost that call. You could try call back, caller, or if that was it for you. Thanks for calling.
Hello? Are you still there? No.
Okay, looks like something happened there.
We lost
The
this
phones,
gentleman.
phone calls the past 2 weeks or so have been crazy. Both carriers, I mean...
We don't want to go down there because these people, they frustrate.
Well, look, I called you tonight, dropped the call twice.
Yeah.
Called you this morning, dropped the call twice too.
It's crazy.
It's anyway, folks have been experiencing that. But let's get back on track. Right? Let's get back on track. So a failure to implement all of these promises to the people Yet now you're out of office, and clearly you were kicked out of office because you could not deliver on what you said to the people that you would have. So what are we to deduce from that? That you are gurus? That you are financial gurus? That your advice is above and beyond that which can be gotten anywhere else?
Any right thinking solution with the math we just did.
This is basic.
It's so basic that anybody could figure it out for themselves. One, you're giving it away to a private company. They're going to rake in 1.7 billion. How much does the government get?
But you left to wonder who was really going to benefit from that. You know, little things like that, things that make you go,
I know
where you wonder.
I know where you're going with
you know, because this is so absurd. I mean, what's that show they have on TV about a fifth grader? Are you as smart as a fifth grader or something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, this is not really very difficult mathematics.
No.
And especially with a calculator that everybody has on a phone, this is not very difficult to figure out at all. And with those numbers there, these billions of dollars that you're talking about,
billions better. Because
and whether you want to call it 1,000 million,
it's the same billion.
It's the same in Baila.
It's the same billion.
Same number of zeros.
Same billion better. 1,000 million is a billion.
And all of this money would have been going to another entity?
And we're just looking at the taxes. Huh?
Well, good night to Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn!
Yeah.
In the hood.
We have not spoken about the landing fees by the airlines. And I know you missed out on that one. And you didn't even do the calculation on that. And then the shops. The rentals on the property.
So folks, you can just add that. You can just add that on top there.
On top of the 1.7.
Huh?
Yeah.
And that is only at 2018 rates, eh? What happened in 10 years from now? What would the rates be?
Yeah.
Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Yes, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I got caught up a while ago.
Okay, good. Thanks for calling back.
Yes, but what you have exposed this evening is the fundamental chasm between the parties. A party which understands business and finance, and one which doesn't. But many people who are much older than me say to me that the present party has always been a party of business. And the other party have always opposed major investments into St. Lucia. Things like the Hess Oil project, I understood, even Halcyon Days and Hewanorra.
Can you speak a little closer to the phone, caller? Oh.
Yeah, there's a problem with the lines. Not our line, because we could have.
Yes. Okay.
Just a little further
so,
away.
yeah, absolutely right, caller. Absolutely right. So, folks, as we had that situation, of course the SLP would not come out now and say, well, we couldn't get the loan because things were so bad with us financially, they will not say that.
But let me say something.
Because they're going to get more. Although he said it in an interview.
Exactly.
But now he won't say that.
Now as you brought
the
out
significance of that statement.
Now as you brought out that release, the dots are connected.
That is right.
People are saying, okay, this is what it was. This is why these guys wanted to turn the airport over, because they could not get financing.
That's right. And they realized that it was critical to get the airport off the ground because we were bursting, we could not develop further unless we had that airport.
Yeah.
Tourism would not go anywhere else because we would not have had the airlift.
No.
So that's the situation there. Now this government was able to turn things around. And it's the same thing again. The same thing again now when this government went to the NIC in July, August of this year, the $100 million loan. And lo and behold, in 2 years under this administration, 2 years after independence, St. Lucia's credit rating on CARICRIS, folks, if you want to search for CARICRIS, that's the entity which gives out credit ratings to islands in the region.
Give it out again.
CARICRIS, CARICRIS. Check it out for yourself.
Yeah. Carry Chris.
Yeah, CARI-CRIS, Caribbean Information and Credit Rating Services Limited. Yes, folks, just like you have a credit rating as an individual, islands and countries have credit ratings too, because they borrow.
Yeah.
And the same way you can go to the bank and the bank tell you, well, you know what, you ain't making enough money, or you have too much money tied up already in debt and we can't lend to you, because the bank is concerned about making their money back. The same thing can happen to countries, and Dr. Kenny Anthony clearly stated that we weren't getting any loans because what was the statement from the institutions? We had to get our financial house in order. Now, folks, that's the situation there. And the argument, the twist and the turn, you never see like you grab a goat or you grab a snake or any creature, any animal like that, and they try to get away. Grab a pig. Christmas coming, Champagne.
Yeah.
Grab an oink oink. There's lots of people trying to grab pigs this season because they're going in the pot, they're going on the fire, in the oven, on the grill, wherever. And they will wriggle and twist and turn and somersault and do anything to get out of your grasp, to get away. And that's what the SLP has been doing in the debate over the airport, because they don't want to take the responsibility, the clear rope around their neck with regards to the manner of financing the airport. So they will say anything to get away from taking the responsibility for that their choice would have been the best thing since sliced armor bread or sliced local bread or whatever bread you want. But folks, in looking at this, I really believe that this option by the United Workers' Party government, led by Allen Chastanet, is a wonderful option for St. Lucia. And looking at the figures, this loan from the Taiwanese will be paid back by SLASPA sooner.
It would be interesting to read that. That is the rating for St. Lucia. I just pulled that up.
Which one is it?
The top one,
which
where
one?
it says relatively low. The external debt. I have that.
Well,
let me
where
get
is
it
it
back to you. I'll give it back.
I don't know what you're giving me there, man.
I'm giving you the ratings you just said about St. Lucia.
By the way, I want to say a special good night to Victoria's Secret. I mean, Dr. Secret. Good night, you're on the air. Let's keep it real. Season's greetings to you there.
How you doing, sir?
Champion.
How you doing, sir?
Champion on ice.
Okay, good evening.
I'm gonna try for champion on ice this season.
All right, okay.
Let me ask you guys a question. Let me say something to you guys.
Yeah.
Kenny Anthony cannot finish a cabaret.
He cannot do what?
Cannot finish a cabaret. Right? How would he ever do? How tell you be able to repair airport? Huh? If he cannot finish a cabaret, how could he finish it? How can he rebuild an airport? You guys are putting the cart before the horse, man. The man's an idiot. The man's an idiot.
What do you think about the math calculation we gave?
Did you pull out your calculator too there?
I don't know if I can do that, but that's common sense, man. I would common sense. That's common sense. You know,
Common sense.
You're going to be an Oxford graduate or Cambridge graduate.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let me tell you something about Kenny Anthony. He's very cunning. He's very cunning to a good few solutions, believe me. Because let me tell you something. I'll give you an example. When a man promised to open a hospital to you every month, I didn't open it for 5 years. I didn't open it. And then to the wrong. When it's on the power, I have a march and have people to march with him. You've got to be cunning. Or if you're going to be stupid. Take your choice. guys, man. Anytime that man beat Allen Chastanet in an election, the book's got to be wrong. They cannot be the Chastanet in nothing. Not even in or goes in. Nothing at all whatsoever. They're too dumb, stupid, and backwards. Let me tell you, simple as that.
Okay, caller, what you have lined up for the new year? Tomorrow you taking the day off wherever you are? National Day.
I work, man. I don't make a fuss. I don't make a fuss.
You're making the big bucks.
Let me figure out my clutch.
So let me ask you a question. Are you coming down for the first horse race?
I'll let you know, man. I'll let you know.
You let us know on the show?
I got your number, man. I got your number, man.
All right.
You're great over. Every move I make, you know.
All right.
I give it a Kelly answer that just honest. Everything you do, I tell the people, they will know. I'm serious. Anytime man can vote, I tell you what, if you want to vote for this man, they're a bunch of crooks. Those are the guys that are taking the hand in the cookie jar.
All right, caller.
All right, my brother.
Because you have to be double stupid to support that Kenny regime.
All right, caller.
The guy's a born loser.
We know you're going to call us a little later. All right?
Have a good night.
All right, my brother. This guy has nothing.
Yes, folks. Number to call 4560931. Our final show for the year. The eve of National Day with all the action downtown. Festival of Lights, if they call it that. Lantern Parade. And our 25th episode tonight of Keeping It Real.
Now, I don't want to get to take you offline of what you're saying on your program, but I was listening to the debate yesterday, and there's something really, really upset me. I don't really get upset that easily, but something upset me.
Yeah, you mean you can eat maniku and everything and you won't get upset?
No, not often. And it had to do with the member for Denwin, Beaufort North. Because
Moses Jean-Baptiste.
It too often the politicians use the poor people as a sidetrack.
That was yesterday or
That was
today?
yesterday.
Okay.
When he made the statement regarding the propane, the cooking gas.
Yeah.
I will get back to that after this call.
Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Goodbye, champagne.
Hey, bonsoir.
Comment vous êtes?
Muy bien. It's all right.
I'm all right.
Ou ka danser, ou ka koute program na?
Oui.
All right. Mais ce programme là, c'est pas programme moi, c'est programme l'autre monsieur, hein? So, on y peut dire bonsoir aussi, non, c'est Mr. Norbert Williams.
Mr. Norbert Williams, bonsoir.
Bonsoir, monsieur.
C'est Macoulid.
Macoulid?
Yes.
Ok, Salty Bis.
Oui.
Ok. Ça bon, qui ça ou ka fait pour Noël là? Ça on y en bas là. Ou ka tuer un bœuf? Eh ben, ou ka tuer half un bœuf?
Ah ouais, mais à manger ni bœuf ni cochon.
Ou pas manger?
Poisson moins vle.
Poisson vle.
C'est bazar.
Qui ça ou ka manger? Balaou eh ben, redfish?
Balaou en mouton. À manger.
Oui, tiens. Ah.
Do waton.
Ou pas manger tortille?
Poisson là, ça ouais. On est pièce pour boire de vraiment, on va manger ça.
Oui, mais avant, n'a manger anything, once il goûte bon. Once il bon goût.
Ouais.
Well, Bandou sa demain soir Dr. Secret kay live George Jones show so moi ça avec ba on belti George Jones.
Aïe.
Demain soir.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, have a good night, Macoulid. Bonsoir.
Okay, bonsoir.
All right. Yeah, that's one of our little listeners from Salty Bus down there.
You know, one thing I must say to you since we got this call here.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard so many times about Salty Bus.
Yeah.
You know, I've never heard of Sweetie Bus, man.
Sweetie Bus. Salty Bus. I thought you were saying you've never been down there.
No, I've never heard of Sweetie Bus.
But let's go back to what I was saying.
Yeah, you were talking about
that one disturbed me. It's so often some politicians use the poor people.
Yeah, pandering.
And the gentleman was saying that the government had put $1 on the cooking gas.
For the Malawi.
That's
the poor people.
Yeah.
Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Mr. Williams.
Good night, sir.
And General.
Oh, I'm a general now. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm gonna.
You've been promoted tonight,
I've been
Champagne.
promoted, and I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Now, gentlemen,
I've been following up those programs for a while. I've been following up the development of the airport from Mr. Stevenson King. Mr. Stevenson King had a plan. The $35 tax, it was placed against in a box. And Mr. King said, whosoever will be developing the airport, will develop the airport. They will take their own money and develop the airport. At the end of the day, the money that's collected from the tax will reimburse the people who did the work.
So that's like a design-build finance.
Huh?
That's like a design-build finance.
All right. Now, this is what it was. When he lost, when UWD lost, they left $57 million in the work. That's what I heard.
Yeah, it was more than 30 something. But anyway, it was a number of millions.
Well,
tens of millions.
What I heard was 57 million.
Yeah. But caller, you see, the thing is, it really doesn't matter exactly how much it was, because we get the principle of it all. That's the big point here in all of this.
But the question is, where has all this money gone? Good night, gentlemen.
All right.
Thank you,
Good
sir.
night,
Thanks for calling.
Have a good evening.
Well, folks, as I said earlier, that money has been assimilated, and there's no trace of it anymore.
No trace.
Now, I'm not alluding to anything crooked, and I'm not alluding to anything straight.
That's right.
It's just
So
that
you're right there in the middle.
It's just that the monies which had been collected for the airport redevelopment are no more.
It's no more. That's right.
Right?
You're right.
That's all we can say.
You're right.
So it's between 30 something million and 50 something, 60 something million dollars.
Yeah.
Okay? We were well on the way, and we would have been well on the way to paying for that airport. Almost. Or maybe more. But some persons in their unlimited wisdom,
the bright boys,
decided we didn't need to collect the tax, but now would have collected the tax.
Based on a promise.
But hold on.
On a company
Hold on. How can we collect taxes on people and there's no development work starting on the airport yet?
But the money could be used.
But hold on. But when you redeveloping the airport or you're building the new terminal, it's not in use until it's finished. When are you going to start the tax? How are you going to finance it? If you have a source of funding it, why not use it? I mean, what? I don't understand that logic at all. I'm knocking my head. I cannot. Let me slap myself into reality there. Wake up. No, but wake up. You see me slapping myself?
Of course.
Wake up. I cannot understand it. Where's the logic in that? When you see things like that, you ask yourself all kinds of questions because it's not making sense. And as we say in St. Lucia, ça n'a pas fait patience. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. You know, these kind of crazy ideas, you know, sometimes you have to catch a lay, and then, you know, you just have to catch a lay and catch a lay and catch a lay.
I was telling you.
And then all you have to do when you really realize is nonsense, all you have to do is this, folks.
You have to get rid of that in some way.
It's crazy. Yeah. You have to flush that from your mind.
Yeah.
Because it just does not make sense. And sometimes, you know, you have to do it more than once. You know, you know, sometimes you know how I describe this? Trying to rationalize irrational behavior. And many people say, oh, I can't understand how somebody would do that. I wouldn't do something like that. Well, folks, it's not you.
Yeah, it's true.
And you have to realize that there are some people out there who just defy all logic. They defy all logic in the things that they do. You just lost in space.
But can I get back to my what I was saying earlier? I don't want to take too much of your show, just a few minutes, because that really disturbed me. The gentleman stood up and he said, the poor people, $1 has been added on the propane gas, the cooking gas.
Yeah.
$1. He said, the poor people, the government knows that the poor people at Christmas time are doing their bakings and their cookings and they're stewing their meats and everything, but they see fit to put $1 on the cooking gas. When I heard that, because I had not heard that before, when I heard that, I said, but wait a minute, that couldn't be right at this time of year, because it took me at this time of year for $1 to be added on the propane, on the cooking gas. It didn't make too much sense to me, because I know this government do not do things that way.
But hold on. Yeah. But you see, it's the play.
Yeah.
The shameless play on people.
Yeah.
So you're telling me, whether it's Christmas or whenever.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody knows people pinch, things are tight by people or whatever. You're telling me it's the end of the world if somebody has to pay an extra $1 on a 22 pound cylinder?
But
hold on. On a 22 cylinder of gas? $1? I mean, seriously?
He made it sound like $1.
It was the end of the world, like it was $100.
Yeah. But that's not what took.
But it was not even accurate.
No, that is where I'm coming. Because when I heard that, I said, even if, excuse me, some people might query about the $1 being put on the, because if it was $33, it's going to go up to $34. But listen to, he said, and they pick to do it at that time, Christmas time. That's what the man was saying.
And hold on. And at that same time, I think it was Philip J. Pierre. Somebody on the government side brought up something about fees that they had put in. And you know what he said? But man, we don't have control of gas prices.
Yeah, that's right.
Duh.
Yeah, and they're talking about the same gas now.
Same thing now.
Same gas.
Who have control over it? And you still exaggerate. You try to stare people and use the old. You see the same thing I saying again? The old Mali way thing.
Yeah.
The old Mali trying to kill the Mali way.
Kill the Mali way. And he didn't say the Mali way, but he said poor people. So I listened to that, and
another buzzword.
That told me a little bit. So when Honorable Guy Joseph came on now.
That again, folks. Write it down, folks. Those of you who are whistling. Dog whistle politics. DOG whistle. WHISTLE and politics. Please look up the meaning of that. Okay. Because we educate you here.
Yeah, exactly.
Those statements by Musa.
Yeah.
Moses Jean-Baptiste.
Yeah. So then I was
dog whistle politics.
When Honorable Guy Joseph took when it was his turn to make his contribution, he gave you the figures. The $1 he was talking about was on the 100-pound cylinder, the ones that cost $265. Now, you're talking about poor people. I don't know if any poor people, when you use the word poor people, going to purchase a 100-pound cylinder for $265.
That's right.
The propane tank, the man was really, he didn't specify, but I knew that's what he was talking about.
$135
is only $20-something. 35 cents was placed on that.
It went up 35 cents.
35 cents.
But of course, you have to.
Come on. I mean, if you're saying things to the people, say things that make sense, things that are true.
You hear lie? That is lie.
That's right.
Lie. You hear lie? Teacher Mercy said you can't tell a lie. You're going to hell as soon as you die. Let it go.
And then he's saying, when Honorable Guy Joseph rectified the figures, he's saying, but you didn't say that. But he was not the one that came out with the wrong figures. You did. Anyway, that pissed me off a little bit. I just wanted to add that out.
Citizens of St. Lucia.
Yeah.
My brothers, my sisters, good night, one and all. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Tonight, I have come to pray. You see, I'm one of the jackasses, so I have come to pray. I am supposed to pray for 10 minutes.
Well, what can I say?
That has to make the for 2018 that has to make the statement of the year, you know.
Yeah, we must have a
of course. You have to have some, yeah.
Top statements of comments for the year.
Committee statements, I call them. That one has to be the number one. That has to be the number one.
Let me see. I don't know, man. Why, Champagne, I tell you, if you really have to listen to a number of these statements there, man, all you want to do, I mean, you listen to some of these things that some of these guys say, and it just gets you hot.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you, in a way, it makes you want to fight. Where's Jerry Springer when you need him anyway?
You know, that's why some people walk up to me and they say when they don't listen to the opposition. You know, and I say, well, most times you have to listen to it because statements like what was made yesterday there, that's why some of the people don't listen. Giving out the wrong information and using the name of the poor people. $1 is placed on the tank, on the cooking gas of poor people because they know that is the time the people are baking and doing their little, and you know, they're trying to butter it a little bit, cooking their little meats.
Yeah.
And people hearing that thing thinking that is true, and it's only 35 cents was put on the 30-pound cylinder.
Well, but you know, folks, not much has been made of it, but I think people should ask. And, there are multiple questions to ask, and nobody's saying anything much about it. But we heard there was a whole big hoopla about a motion of no confidence in the government.
Oh boy, I didn't even remember that. What happened to that?
Right? Why are you asking me?
But I didn't even have the opposition.
But hold on. I didn't talk about any motion of no confidence.
No, but you were present.
I didn't bring any motion of no confidence.
I saw you all the time through my television. No, seriously.
No. What I would suggest that you do, and the people out there do, is to call up Philip J. Pierre.
And that's what happened to that.
Ask him what happened to it, because he was very full of bravado and
But I tell you, these guys, let me say something. I'll say something tonight.
But what happened to it?
No, but seriously, these guys are good with strategy to just try to get the solution public all hyped up. Because when that thing came out with that vote of no confidence,
they mentioned that around that March in September. Mm-hmm. And all of that was supposed to coincide or work along with the hype and the agitation and saying that 600 plus people would lose their jobs at the hospital and we're going to have a new prime minister
in December.
So all of this now, you see the pattern of behavior and the lawsuit against DSH and all of this. Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real. And that person is gone. You see, when I look at all of that, these things did not happen in isolation. I don't think that they happened coincidentally. I think they were all orchestrated.
Oh yeah, very.
But you see, the thing is, the hoopla and the propaganda and the lies and the half-truths did not bear themselves out with the reality and the truth. Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Yeah, good night, Champagne.
How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I did good. It's me talking to you for the first time this morning. Afternoon, sorry. Andy goes to Sunday.
Oh yes. How you doing? Yes, everything. But remember, my program is not this program. I'm just there as a sideman. So okay, Mr. Norbert, this is Mr. Norbert's program.
So what's not Mr. Norbert's program tonight? What do you have?
It's keeping it real.
It's keeping it real.
So what?
It has to do with politics.
It has to do with politics?
Yeah.
Okay.
Local politics. My program is in the morning and on a Monday night, and I'm always here anyway.
Okay. I didn't mention it. I will keep in that day. But let me make our opinion concerning what you are saying there.
Yeah.
That's not what the political side.
Yeah.
Because I see too much colors. That's why maybe PS just gives us a little chance. Maybe that's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You already mentioned what is there was no confidence. I had they put it on our side. Maybe because of the too much colors and the country are moving. So they say maybe they say a little bit. They put try to put something else. That's my mind.
Okay.
But to me, man, Mister, when I say the way the government moving. Giving government this and that. But to my mind, we need a government, stable government, and then when you see we cannot take again, we change it. But I see the government, government, let me see who try to tell you what the government, but I see government setting every nick and cranny, every old thing, they mentioning river, they never change. To me, that will give them, when you say, we know what my main opposition is for, in the Commonwealth system is to give the government pressure of what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Not give them pressure they want to take them out. So why are you going from there? If you take out every time you change, why are you going? You get up there in a chin now and a foot there, we know, eh? That's how I see it.
That's right.
So I say, opposition to my mind is to give the government pressure of, hey, you know what happened? By the hospital full of grass, anything will change it. You're like, no, you give that government come and say, we're making a budget for that, but the budget for that. You understand? That's how opposition is stand for. That's why that's strong opposition. To my mind, I don't know if I'm correct. If anybody can call and I then listen to the programs, anybody can call and say, the minister that called a while ago, that's how it is. And I picture at one time. But
all right, my brother. But you can call me in the morning time. I'm there from 9 to 11.
Okay, I will try.
All right, my brother. Have a good evening.
You too, buddy.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much. We'd like to say thank you to a new caller to the show, although he was calling for champagne. But, you know, he in a simple little way, he said something. So we'd like to encourage him to call next year when we have our new show.
So you think the next sitting we're going to have something regarding the...
Well, I don't know about that. As I said to you earlier, you need to give Philip J. Pierre a call and ask him what's going on. Somebody out there should call him and ask him what happened to the vote, because he didn't tell me. And we didn't hear anything.
But that is really playing around with the...
No. Hold on. You see, certain people who want to dictate how this government goes about doing things, in everything that they do, who will oppose for opposing sake. When you look at their record, when you look and listen to the demands that they make on this current administration, you suddenly realize that everything they want to demand, fix St. Jude's now, open OKU, the airport deal is not right. When you look at those things and you examine where they're coming from with that, you suddenly realize, oh, they failed to deliver those very same things in a much longer period of time than within which they're demanding you do it now. And it just seems to be a noise of putting those challenges out to the government, making them seem like the failures, when you all were the ones who failed. And like I read last week, Confucius, man who says something cannot be done should not interrupt man who is doing it. But you know...
Let me say something. These guys are working on the minds of... Even their supporters are getting fed up. And I know what I'm saying. Even their supporters are getting fed up because they're trying to just put things together that does not make sense.
I'll tell you something that doesn't make sense.
Any sense at all.
I'll tell you something that doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
I'll tell you something that doesn't make sense. The Prime Minister of St. Lucia has been working night and day on whatever is in between night and day.
Right.
To get St. Lucia out of the mess which this government inherited. He's traveled and traveled and traveled. And some people say, oh, you like the man like a plane. Folks, spare me the nonsense. If anybody talking that crap, that's what it is, has not traveled themselves. Because if you think traveling is fun, if you think traveling to the UK 8 hours, traveling to the United Arab Emirates or to Asia 15 hours on a plane. When after a few hours you don't know which side of your backside to sit on.
That's true.
Right? When jet lag busts in your skin, right? When jet lag busts in your skin, and by the time you spend a day, 2 days, you barely get acclimatized to the new time zones. You're flying back to St. Lucia. You're all confused. When you get there, you can't sleep. You don't know if it's day, night. Your body all in a mess,
Yeah.
and doing that over and over, and meeting with world leaders and going to meetings here, and you up midnight and everything. Because what do you think? When he go over there, you on the beach all day?
They think the Prime Minister is doing that for fun.
All the information, the meetings and everything that is going on today, information is there.
Yes, sir.
The leaders of the countries that he meets, the information is all there. The photos there. It's online. Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Mr. Williams,
Yes, sir.
something that bothers me. I wonder why the so-called brain boxes in SLC don't call your show and contact you. I want to know why they don't call.
Why? What are they going to counteract? I give the facts and I give people the
that's
ability
what I'm talking
to
about.
verify
That's
what
what
I
I'm
say
talking
and
about.
to analyze my analysis of the paralysis.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
But at the start of the show of Keeping It Real, some of them they were calling.
Yeah,
and
but
they seem
but
to just die down.
Yeah, because they ain't making any sense.
And then look at that, more stupid than Kenny.
But they're listening.
No,
They enjoy the show. It makes them think.
Another thing, they make a noise about nice program and
Because I'll tell you something, caller. A number of them have challenged me. They've met me and said they heard but it's okay. But it tells you that they know where to mess around. Over here, this show is keeping it real.
real.
Yeah.
That's right.
No fluff.
No fluff, no bluff.
That's right.
You're making a lot of talk about.
But no, hold on. No fluff, no bluff, and no gwenery on here.
You were saying something about the nice program.
You're making a lot of noise about the nice workers going home and the pet workers going home, blah, 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 blah. And as far as I know, you gotta go to the bank and tell the banker or the loan officer, I have a job.
For 3 months.
Step program.
Yeah.
The step program that's no work. That's how far as breakers go.
Yeah.
They have no idea. They're dumb, backward and stupid.
But people will defend that. People will continue defending that, failing to realize or failing to accept that this doesn't get you out of the hole that you're in. It keeps you there.
Right.
It keeps you there.
You don't even get the crumbs.
It's an illusion. It's an illusion of inclusion. But you can't go to the bank. You can't do nothing with that.
Caught.
Not
even caught.
Opposition leader saying, $5 will stop a hole.
$5, that's right. $5 will block a hole. Yeah.
Will block a hole.
Yeah.
That kind of choke talker. That guy's a red choker to the man. And I tell you, that guy's a red. This is a red choker to those guys in the man.
All right, caller, we're just about getting to the end of our show for the year.
Let me ask him, how do you feel of us not being on for the rest of the year and coming back in January?
Repeat, I didn't hear it well.
How do you feel about tonight being the last program for the year?
Where was it?
We'll be back.
Where was it?
Caller, you're enraged?
He's in Wajin. Well, buddy, let me say to you, Merry Christmas and all the best for 2019, but we'll be back in January.
I try to have a champagne on ice.
All right,
Okay,
I'll
cool.
do that.
Take care,
All
man.
right, you have a good evening.
Have a good night.
All right.
Right.
You guys close it already?
No, we're just about
it's a
wrapping
few
up.
minutes, that's right.
There's a lot of stuff going on in Cass Street. We want to go down there.
Okay, have a good night, caller.
All right.
Yes, folks. So I was saying, it's important that we pay attention to the information that is available. And as I was talking about the PM there, even up to now, his detractors, those who want to paint him as being useless, although we can see looming on the horizon the tidal wave of development that's coming to the south, particularly in St. Lucia. Folks, you could jump, you could hide, you could roll, you could scream, you could bawl like a cow. The south is it. Good night, you're on the air, let's keep it real.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
I wish you a Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
I wish you a Merry Christmas. I wish you a Merry Christmas. And a happy and prosperous New Year.
Well, thank you very much, sir. Merry Christmas to you and all the best for 2019. Hope you have a lovely Christmas.
Well, I don't know if I could sing it just the way you did because
try
you
it,
sung it
Frank.
right,
Don't
but
try.
I'm going to return that all the way back to you, Mr. Mitchell, and all the best for 2019.
Okay, thank
All
you
right?
very much.
You
Have a good night.
Good evening. All right. And thank you very much, Mr. Mitchell.
Yes, folks.
I wanted to ask you, because you already brought it up, I just wanted to ask you to give our listeners just a little glimpse of what is to come in 2019.
Well,
from the
folks,
government.
2019 is going to continue with the plans of this administration. And for 2019, we already know, and I think this has gotten some people in a tizzy, in a fit, in what can I say, in a desperate mood, and they've seen it coming. And absolutely, this year coming up, 2019, we're going to see in Viewfort the cruise ship port coming up. Lots of people are excited about that. And this cruise ship port is going to birth the largest cruise ships out there, 4,000 to 6,000 passengers.
That's huge.
And that is going to blow up the South tremendously as far as jobs are concerned, as far as businesses benefiting from that, because those 6,000 passengers are not going to be coming from St. Lucia. They're going to be coming from outside St. Lucia. And what's going to happen is they're going to have to be flown in. So the increased traffic at the airport is definitely going to indicate that these people coming for the cruise are not going to come half an hour before the flight. That's not going to work.
Nope.
So they're going to be here for a day, 2 days before and after when the ship comes back. Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real.
I'll be sure. I just want to close with this. I will be very disappointed if Prime Minister Allen Chastanet don't beat us at 17 love next election.
Well, that's not going to be next year, so we have some time to see that coming.
Next election, sorry, next election.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All
Have a
right.
good night.
We'll have
Night.
to have you campaigning with us.
Okay, yeah. What was I saying?
Yeah, you were talking about the cruise ship port. Cruise ship port.
That's
down in the
going,
south.
you coming in for a cruise, you're not coming in 5 minutes before the cruise or 1 hour before. You're going to be coming in a day, 2 days. So that means hotel stay. That means souvenirs. That means tours. All kinds of things.
So that's one.
Then
Then
we
we'll
have
start.
St. Jude Hospital.
Okay.
St. Jude Hospital.
Number 2.
That's starting up in January.
That's
Well,
number
it's already started up.
Yeah.
They started clearing the site.
Right. I
But
saw that.
it's going to start in January.
That's number 2.
Right. We have, the airport, Hewanorra International Airport. That's starting too.
That's number 3.
Right? We have the Northeast Highway. There's no time on that, but that's coming as a result of the redevelopment and the monies
Right.
you're going to be getting. That's going to finance
So
that.
so we want to leave that one out a little bit.
Yeah, leave that
So
open.
then
We
we
have
go
the
into
racetrack.
Number 4.
First race, 17th of February.
Now that one, I wanted to ask you about that one there, because let me tell you something. I am very optimistic about the racetrack, but I have a little, there's something in my head with the time. Because I've been to racetracks, I've seen racetracks. You have to have the outfield, you have to have the grandstand, you have to have the gallery, you have to have the shops, the restaurants. We are 2 months away from February, and I think the first race is February 18th. Is that what?
17th.
From your perspective, because I know you might know a little bit about that. Are we going to be on schedule with the race?
Well,
I'm not denying the fact that I just want to know.
Well, that's
based
the information
on the
that
time
we
frame
will be on schedule. The
All
first
right.
race will be the 17th
of February.
of February. All of that is all part of the 40th anniversary of the independence celebration.
And the only reason why I'm asking that, because I've been to racetracks in other countries and I've seen the setup. It's a huge facility. It has a lot of little different areas, with the grandstand, the outfield, the fencing, the shops, the restaurants. So that's why I ask whether or not we have the 2 month time frame on it.
Now,
so that's number 4.
A lot of people have been complaining about the travels. And I'll tell you one thing, the PM is focused and the PM is driven
Oh yeah.
To develop St. Lucia.
That's for
passion,
sure.
He has the vision.
Oh, of course.
And he has every intention to fulfill. In fact,
he even
the
gave a
PM
time
has
frame.
said
He gave a time
3
frame.
years.
That's right.
To start seeing the development.
That's right.
And we've been seeing the
Of
development
course.
before the 3 years.
Way
And
before.
next year is the 3 years, and we see all of this tidal wave of development coming. However,
No,
folks,
next year is not the 3 years.
It is 3
Next
years.
year is 2.
Next year is
no,
3.
when he
What's
made
wrong
that
with you?
statement, no, hold on. I follow up on everything. When he made that statement, he made that statement in 2017.
Yeah,
Made
when
that
you
statement
get
last year.
into office, it's going
So-
to take you 3 years. So from time of from elections to now.
Well, based on my calculations, 2017 to 2020 is 3 years.
No. He said it's going to take 3 years to turn the economy around and the accomplishments.
All right,
We are
well.
going into the 3rd year next year.
Well, I was looking at based on the time that he said it.
No. He's talking about getting into office and working.
Okay. All right.
Now, folks, we're talking about traveling. A lot of people have been saying all along, they've been trying to label the PM. Chastanet, a plane here,
They even made a song about it in the Calypso this year.
Good night, you're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Yes, I want to wish you all a happy Christmas and a happy New Year.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
I'll be listening. All right?
Okay.
I miss that show.
Thank you very much.
Well, we hope you don't miss it too long because this is going to be our last show for this year.
Yeah, well, no. I'll keep on listening.
All right.
Until
We'll be back.
okay, all right.
Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot.
very
And the
much.
same
Have a good
goes to
night.
you and your family.
Yeah.
All right.
Champagne?
All right, sir. Yes, buddy.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm there. Hello? Yeah, you were trying to get something in with me.
Yes, so folks, you know, it's funny how people want to condemn development, because what the Prime Minister is doing is development. He's traveling. There's a limited pool of resources out there from donor agencies, from governments. The monies that were in the pot 20 years ago are not there now, like before. There are a lot of countries out there vying. There's St. Vincent, there's Grenada, Barbados, all other countries in the region is asking.
Yeah.
You have to be out there because there are people on the line, there are people in their face. And if you're not there trying to campaign for yourself, other people gonna get it before you.
You remember Kuwait used to give St. Lucia a whole lot of money during the time of Sir John?
But folks,
not now.
The thing is, for you to get the assistance you need, whether it be loans, whether it be grants, whether it be whatever assistance, you have to go out there and do it.
Yep.
That's just the name of the game right now. And that's what our Prime Minister has been doing.
Yep.
And clearly, it's bringing the results. But whatever you may think about that, you see, again, the criticisms are coming from the other side about the Prime Minister, about what the government is doing and how it should be done this way and that way. Well, let me put it in the words. Again, you see, folks, I like to put things, let you hear things in people's own words by their own mouth and lips. Here's what Alva Baptiste had to say during the previous administration of the SLP. I won't tell you. I'll just let you listen.
In my own particular case, I went to South Korea. I went to China. I went to Morocco. I went to Chile. As the president of the ACP, I went to Brussels a couple of times, Denmark, Vanuatu. I went to Australia. All the airfare, the hotel, in most of the cases, were paid by the foreign government or subsidized tremendously. The airfare, which is the significant component in all of the cases there, paid by a foreign government. As a government, we do not expect to sit at home and other countries of the world just tell us, okay, you St. Lucia simply beautiful and just give us money.
Folks?
Paid by a foreign government. As a government, we do not expect to sit at home and other countries of the world just tell us, okay, you St. Lucia simply beautiful and just give us money. We need to travel. In fact, in the OECS, when I hear the kind of travels that the other foreign ministers and other ministers do, we are not doing, even 50% of that type of travel. I think.
So when he hears, the kind of travels that the other foreign ministers do, So why you think they're traveling so much?
Good
Because
answer.
they like plane more than you?
Yeah.
Or the point that he's trying to make is that they're trying to get to the sources of
Before
fundings
him.
before him.
That's right. That's right.
Let's hear him continue.
They are very aggressive in going to other areas.
Utanza? Certainly. They are very aggressive in going to other areas.
The strong word there is aggressive. Yeah.
So what they are suggesting
race.
is that Allen Chastanet should lay back, man, and
Yeah.
chill out.
Yeah, let them call him from China or from Dubai.
But you know what I was saying? You know, nobody has said so. When you make these alligators, Chastanet traveling all over the place. None of y'all bring up any photos of him on the beach.
That's right. Or in the club.
Or in the club.
Yeah.
You know, or just bumming around shopping.
Yeah. Yeah.
No pictures. Nobody has made those accusations. He just like a plane.
Yeah.
Ah, man.
Yeah. I like what you just said there. Go over there. If you feel the money just going on a joyride, take some photos and take it back home.
So you tell me the man will go on a plane.
Yeah.
And sit on a plane for 15 hours.
Yeah, could you imagine?
To go on the beach and come back the next day.
Yeah.
Good night, you're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Mr. Norbert.
Yes, sir.
Man, I like the chip that you play in there so much. Because when people talking about Chastanet traveling, I used to tell them that the opposition had the men traveling too. But they don't seem to be understanding when they are in opposition. Now, a lot of people are out there in the activities that are taking place, festivals of lights and whatever. But I would like you, sometime next year, God willing, to come back with that same tip. Because more people will be paying attention to that. Because the man said, that's his word, and I want you to play it again. If you stay there, you can't get nothing.
That's right.
So you have to travel. So right now, Chastanet is traveling too much for them. But you know what I like? They're traveling, Chastanet coming back with something. They expect Chastanet to come with
nothing.
Briefcase and money, and when you reach at the airport, start
dishing out.
That's what they want him to do. But like he said, in 3 years, he will deliver. They can't wait for the 3 years. Just couple months. Just wait and you will see what is happening. You understand?
Yeah.
But very good program, my brother. I enjoyed so very much.
Yeah.
I take it my cool time driving down the road and I'm listening to that. But I would like you to play it again and take that program into the new year. Because a lot of people that are listening to us, they are out there with their children in the festivals of life. Okay, my brother?
Thank you very much.
Yes, have a good one.
Have a good one. Yes, sir.
You take care. Tomorrow, God's willing.
If God spare, yeah. Well, as the gentleman requested, he wants to...
Well, so let's continue. Alva's not done yet.
No?
No.
Okay.
He's continuing.
Other areas, and I believe that St. Lucia should always be very prudent in the utilization of its resources, but we need to be very pragmatic in this new and complex world situation.
So in essence, being pragmatic suggests that we have to go out there. You have to go get it.
Yes.
They're not coming. People not coming. Ouvrez l'argent. You want this?
No, that doesn't. That's
you have to apply. Your agencies or your government departments have to apply to UNDP, to the UN, to wherever. If you don't go out there, you get, it's like a job.
Yeah.
If you don't send out resumes, ain't nobody gonna find you.
No.
They have 1,000 other people out there looking.
It's like a race of first come, first serve.
But let's play that again, champion.
Yeah.
We're gonna end the year with this because you know you have to be fair. And what is good for the goose is good for the gander. It's like a different set of rules for everybody else. And the SLP is it's like do as I say, not as I do.
That's right.
Let's hear it.
In my own particular case, I went to South Korea. I went to China. I went to Morocco. I went to Chile. As the president of the ACP, I went to Brussels a couple times, Denmark, Vanuatu. I went to Australia. All the airfare, the hotel, in most of the cases, were paid by the foreign government or subsidized tremendously. The airfare, which is the significant component in all of the cases there, paid by a foreign government. As a government, we do not expect to sit at home and other countries of the world just tell us, okay, you St. Lucia's simply beautiful and just give us money.
Doesn't that apply to Chastanet?
In the OECS, when I hear the kind of travels that the other foreign ministers and other ministers do, we are not doing, you know, even 50% of that type of travel. I think they are very aggressive in going to other areas. And I believe that St. Lucia should always be very prudent in the utilization of its resources, but we need to be very pragmatic in this new and complex world situation.
I don't have anything else to say there. I don't have anything else to say. I mean, it speaks for itself, you know. But folks, this brings us to the end of our 25th episode of Keeping It Real. And we have an email here. It says, Merry Christmas to y'all and a Happy New Year.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. The same goes to you.
Thank
and your
you
family.
very much.
Same goes to you.
We appreciate it. All the best to you and the family, and we look forward to you tuning in next year.
Let me say something to you, my brother. When you came up with the idea that you're going to be up here and we're going to be doing this program, well, you said you're going to be doing the program. And on the very first episode, you said, Champion, you have to be there with me as my backup. You remember we discussed that. And then, you know, I said, okay, let's give it a try. And then the program has turned out to be a very good program.
Yes,
I would really like to thank you, my brother, as your
sidekick.
Your sidekick.
Yeah.
Or your, there's something
That's right.
in the movies. What they say? There's something in the movies they say. Your supporting cast.
Yeah,
your supporting cast
of one.
So
supporting cast of one.
So I want to wish you and your family and everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and let's hope we could do this again next year.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Well, folks, this has brought us to a wonderful ending of Keeping It Real, 25th episode and the last show of the year 2018. We've spoken about lots of things. Justify was our first show about the horses.
Oh, let me hear Justify before we let's end
you want to hear that? Yeah, folks. I think this is a good one, taking us into the new year.
Yeah.
And what is to come with the racetrack and what started off our show, Keeping It Real.
Yeah.
Right here on 93.1. And let me just get that one up here for you.
I just want to hear the commentary and Justify. That's what I like.
Yep. And that's
and you
right
were
here. I was at
Yeah.
Belmont Park in New York.
Yeah.
And we started off Keeping It Real with a show about Justify and the horse race track in Beaufort and the interviews with the chief agricultural officer with regard to the equine disease-free zone and all of that. And I think we'll replay that show sometime next year, just before the whole big thing, so people can get perspective on where Keeping It Real was.
Yes, that's
But folks, let's hear that race at the Belmont Stakes, where Justify won the Triple Crown on June the 10th, 2018 in New York. Let's hear that. Maybe you can hear me screaming there too.
They're all in line. We are ready for a start. We're off in the 150th Belmont Stakes. And it was a very good beginning for Justify, who goes immediately to the early lead in the race to the first turn. So it will be Justify to set the pace here. And there on the outside goes Restoring Hope, the other Bob Baffert trainee, who's wide into that turn and running in second position. Right in behind them in third is Bravazzo. Noble Indy is off the pace. And then on the inside comes Tenfold. The opening quarter mile was a swift one. 23.37 seconds. A very fast pace for Justify, who will lead the field on to the backstretch here with his stablemate Restoring Hope sitting in second, and on the inside Bravazzo is third, Noble Indy is fourth,
and folks, that is how the development is going to be moving in Beaufort.
Hoffberg and Free Drop Billy. Gronkowski is last. They've slowed things down a bit. 48.11
for the new year.
Was the half. It's just a bit faster than American Pharoah went 3 years ago. Justify and Mike Smith, the Kentucky Derby and Preakness winner, head up the backstretch in the Belmont Stakes with a length lead.
And champion, we got a Merry Christmas from Atlanta, Georgia.
All right, thank you,
Conyers, Georgia.
Vinorosso's
thank you,
close up
Atlanta.
running in fifth. He's 5 lengths off the lead. 3/4 went in 1 minute, 13.21 seconds, halfway home in the Belmont. And then comes Tenfold on the inside of Blended Citizen. Hofberg is drafting in behind horses, 6 lengths off the lead. Free Drop Billy and Gronkowski, the last of them all. And Mike Smith and Justify make their run into the far turn. They've got a 2-length lead. Restoring Hope is put to a ride as Vino Rosso begins to rev it up on the outside. Bravazzo is down toward the rail. They've run a mile in 1:38.09 seconds. Justify is the leader, but it's just a half-length advantage here. Vino Rosso comes under a ride. Mike Smith has not asked Justify to go just yet. Justify a length lead here as they come to the top of the stretch. Vino Rosso is second. Hofberg comes on the scene, and Gronkowski has cut the corner, and they're into the stretch. And Justify comes roaring home to a raucous Belmont Park with 1 furlong to run. Gronkowski and Hofberg trying to run him down. Vino Rosso is fourth, a 16th to go. Justify is still there. Justify from Gronkowski. He's just perfect, and now he's just immortal. Justify is the 13th Triple Crown winner. Gronkowski was second, Hofberg was third, and Vino Rosso was fourth. Justify has done it.
Now, let me say something before you say anything. I want to just say this for the solutions that have not been to a racetrack, to actually witness a race, a horse race. I have seen it. You do not have to gamble 1 penny to be at a racetrack.
You don't have to.
You don't have to. It is a very nice place to be, to watch those horses, to witness those horses run. It is one of the most exciting things you could ever witness
that's
in
right.
your entire life.
That's right.
You know, so when I hear people talking about the horse, it's an entertainment place. It's a facility. You go there with the kids. Kids could come in there and watch the horses run. You don't have to gamble. And you could elaborate on that because you were there at that race.
That's right. Well, we'll be hearing much more of that in the new year as we get there. But folks, maybe you can remember over the year, well, the past 25 episodes, we've spoken about and discussed Justify and horse racing and the DSH racetrack.
Yeah.
We've talked about the SLMDA. Remember those guys? They're all quiet.
Yeah, they got quiet. Yeah, you try. The more you lie,
don't talk too loud. Don't talk too loud. The SLMDA is sleeping.
I believe they'll come alive again.
We heard about Facebook and all the liars out there and the propagandists.
Yeah.
We talked about, what did we talk about? The Venezuela situation.
Yeah.
With visas and we talked about the situation with the police and the immigration incident at the
that's right.
Express de Zille.
That's right.
We spoke about that. We spoke about just 2 weeks ago, we did a special on rape in St. Lucia and the sex offender registry and what's coming up with that.
We had the marijuana issue with
Andre De Caris.
That's right.
He was right in here talking about the weed, man, the herb.
The herb, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. And I just got some news earlier this evening that St. Vincent is the first island to legalize the weed.
Is that right?
Today.
I have not heard that.
Today is Tuesday, right? Today's Tuesday? Wednesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday. Yep.
Oh, wow.
St. Vincent has legalized the weed.
Wow.
Yep, so, that's that. So some people may start moving over to St. Vincent.
Well, let's see what happens in St. Lucia.
Well, folks, I'd like to say thank you very much to all of you who have been our faithful, loyal listeners. Bishop's Gap, thank you very much. Said Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Champagne.
Thank you, Bishop's Gap.
And Atlanta, Georgia, to all our friends listening there online. Conyers, Georgia, Hamilton, Bermuda, Puerto Rico. Buenas noches y muchas gracias para escuchar este año durante de nuestros 25 episodios.
That's right.
De Keeping It Real. Yeah.
Let them know we'll be back next year.
Regresamos Spanish. El año que viene en enero. Empezaremos con Keeping It Real la segunda semana de enero. ¿Ok? We had Guy Joseph, Minister Guy Joseph in here as well. We had the chairman of the housing, Timothy Mangal.
That's right.
We had Minister Fortuna Belrose in here after that storm. We covered the storm.
Yes, we did that.
We covered the storm.
Night you were shaking.
That's the night you screamed. You were left here and the power went out 2 or 3 times and you were bawling like a cow.
Oh yeah, I had to get out.
Yeah. We had who else did we have here? We spoke with Ty. We were coordinating with him on the roads, clearing up the roads, and the team from Ministry of Infrastructure clearing up the down trees and everything.
That's right.
So we had quite a varied.
We had some moments.
Yeah, we had some moments here. We had some moments here.
Let's hope we could make it happen next year.
Right, folks?
Willing.
So I'd like to say again, thank you very much to all of you who have been our faithful support fans.
Well, we
have one more call. This is going to be the last call tonight. Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real.
I just want to quote Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
He said, nobody wants the world heavyweight champion to be an ugly man.
Nobody wants what?
The world champion to be an ugly man.
To be an ugly man.
Yeah.
All right, sir.
I said to Kenny Anthony, nobody wants Kenosha's Prime Minister to be an ugly man.
Okay.
Allen Chastanet is pretty.
Oh, you're something else.
Handsome. He's a good looking guy.
That's right.
Okay, thank you very much, caller. Have a happy new year. Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas to you, my brother.
Alrighty.
All right.
Yes, folks. As I was saying, thank you very much for being with us since June the 19th.
We want to give a special thank you to our sponsor. That's our people down there at Chemical.
Chemical,
Yeah,
of
we
course.
almost forgot.
Although we're going to have some special folks. I spoke with them and they said we're going to have a few hampers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have a few hampers. I'm going to talk to them about that next week. We're going to have a special Christmas show in here.
Yeah.
And
it has to do with
a few lucky listeners are going to win a hamper, and then you'll be able to collect it from the Chemical Depot info show.
Yeah.
And we'll give you the details of that.
Yeah,
and as I said earlier this morning, we're going to be starting off the new year with some new technology over here.
That's right.
If you're in your car or if you want to know what's happening before you go, we're going to have the traffic report live right here.
That is right.
And some of you are going to be involved in that, but we'll give you the details because we go in high tech over here.
High tech.
High tech,
some
folks.
weather as well.
Weather, that's right.
Yeah.
We go in high tech, folks. So once again, Champagne and myself are most likely going to go downtown and check out some of the action for a little bit. Thank you very much, folks. I really appreciate it. This show has truly blown up. Those of you who have emailed, thank you very much for emailing us. Those of you who have called, our listeners on the internet, Conyers, Georgia, Hamilton, Bermuda, Puerto Rico, Stamford, Connecticut, Brooklyn, New York, South Africa is on tonight. London, England is on. Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Scarborough. That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much to all of you. Antigua, Trinidad and Tobago, Scarborough, Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, Kingstown, St. Vincent, Bridgetown, Barbados. All of you out there, thank you so much.
Thank you
for keeping it real. The number one show.
Yeah. And just an announcement before we get out of here. Tomorrow's program, the mid-morning show, Brother Ellis and Dr. Secret will be here to bring you the mid-morning show because I'm covering the Greasy Pole and the Greasy Pig.
Alrighty.
Tomorrow.
That's right, and that's at George V Park in the Gardens.
And the Gardens.
Thank you again, folks. Hope you all have a great night. Hope you have a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year. And the New Year brings for you everything that you want. Keeping it real is going to be bigger and better coming up. You will hear the promos soon. Thanks again, folks. I'm Norbert Williams. Good night.